keeping pressure on if I had to say anything.
Yeah, he's got a warp gate, but yet he's not using his warp.
Yeah.
He's got, like, it's finished, right? And he's still building units, you know, through the gateways. I have no idea why he hasn't used his warp gate yet. Forced to bring these probes off the line again. I actually don't know if I really agree with, well, I suppose he kind of has to at this point, and I don't know why he's even trying to sit there and doing micro against these things. Doing a little bit of damage, but nothing huge. I mean, well, I guess he did take all of his probes off the mineral line, so I guess that did do quite a bit of damage. Here's the thing, guys. You know, this Zerg player here expanding again, which is good, but he still doesn't have his natural expansion saturated.
Yeah.
I know, you know, I preach on, you know, getting that expansion really quickly and stuff like that, but you can't get, you know, another expansion if your first one isn't even fully saturated.
Yeah,
It's just,
it's definitely not something you want to get yourself into, but it's gold, though. So I guess if you're going to do it, gold's not horrible, but like Jeff was saying, you want to really saturate everything before you move on, unless you have a specific purpose. And here comes another huge attack here, coming up for Urban. We Thermal Lance just about to finish, and that's going to be a huge help for Kbizzle. Also, something I'd like to point out, I believe I saw Nidus Worm finish for Urban not long ago while Jeff was talking here. Would really like to see those warp gates come into play, though. It's kind of silly to have warp gate and not be using it right now. Maybe he figures he can get out the units just as fast and without waiting for warp gate. I have no idea what he's thinking.
I think he probably just straight up forgot.
He probably just forgot. But you know what? Good job blocking off the ramp. It gives him a couple more minutes here, a couple more seconds to build up a big enough force to really do some damage. And essentially, that's the story of a Protoss player in a lot of the cases, especially against a Zerg.
Yeah, you know what? And maybe this is just me, but I actually find, there we go, finally getting the warp gate going. I think he might have just realized, hey, what the hell am I doing here? One thing that I you know realize now, being a Protoss player, because I do play Protoss quite a bit, is at the beginning of a game, I find Protoss with the disadvantage. I think after that patch, Roaches are so strong, and Terran just with that Marine, if you get the Marauder and you get the concussive shells, if you don't have Stalker or Fast Zealots, that is it, right? So I find that, and this is proof, what we just seen right there, you know, Urban had all those units, and Kbizzle had, what, 2 Stalker and a Sentry? And if you can micro very well, you don't need a lot of units. And I find if you're not very good at microing with Protoss, you're at a little bit of a disadvantage, and it's extremely hard to you know, to stay alive in the first 8 minutes of a game.
Yeah, and I think we will do probably try and find a match or something, or maybe we'll do a match ourselves and show really the kind of micro that is necessary as a Protoss player to really be effective, because Protoss has to do a lot with less units.
Yep.
And even though they are really powerful units, obviously Protoss in the mid to late game is probably the most powerful race, arguably up against... Nidus Worm, but... You know, it was close. It was a good try. If you're going to put it anywhere,
well, that's why you have the pylon there.
But that's why you have the pylon there. But you know what? Sentry play is such an essential part of Protoss's arsenal, especially at higher levels. And like Jeff was saying, you know, Protoss is at a bit of a disadvantage, maybe more so at this level, just simply for the fact that people in these leagues don't necessarily have the micro ability to effectively use Protoss against really early pushes from Terran and other Zerg players. And really, it's something that if you're going to be good with Protoss, go and get into a match with a computer or something and just practice using force fields, because it will take you so much further than almost anything else as a Protoss player.
One thing that I want to add about this game is Urban is just doing too much at once, and it's actually slowing him down.
He's really slow.
He's really slow. I want you to take a look at this. He actually has 100 minerals right now, right? 2 expansions, one being gold. And Kbizzle has 400. Supply is 77.
One base Protoss.
And the Zerg is 73.
And this
is just going to be death. Like, how do you, like, you know, that's just, it goes to show when you're doing too much as Zerg, like that second attack he did with those Roach shouldn't have happened. He had Kbizzle on the ropes there. If he would have just backed off, Kbizzle would have been, you know, expecting another attack. He probably would have panicked a little bit, spent his money not so wisely. he could have been saturating this expansion, getting those Muta out a lot quicker. I mean, Muta at this point in the game would have done some serious damage. I mean, he did have some Stalker, but Colossus don't attack air, and he's going heavy on Immortals. So I mean, I just felt that Urban didn't really play the best there for the advantage he had at the very beginning.
Like you were saying, I think he did spread himself a little too thin, and maybe he's just got in his head. Maybe he's seen it before, where people are just constantly, especially as a Zerg player, constantly expanding. And don't get us wrong, it is extraordinarily important for a Zerg to be able to expand. Zerg is a macro race by far, way more than any other race, and so it is important to do that. But like Jeff was saying earlier in the game, you want to make sure that you have your first expansion saturated at least to a certain point before you move on. Getting a gold expansion before your second one is saturated is acceptable if you can do it without being noticed and getting away with it. However, I would, if you did do that, I would probably, as a Zerg player, stop saturating my second one and send all of my drones to the gold expansion at that point.
Yep.
But ignoring that, I would like to talk about Kbizzle there towards the end of the game. I want you to look at his units right now. This is a very nice unit composition we have here. Protoss in the mid game is very deadly, especially against a Zerg player. You throw one Colossus into battle, and that can change the entire thing. But as you can see here, we have a couple of Colossus, a single Immortal, which is you don't really need more than 1 or 2 Immortal to get the job done if they're behind your line. Stalker, Sentry, and then up front you have your meat shields, the Zealots, taking up most of the damage off of the more important units from the back. Very, very nice unit composition. There's nothing more beautiful to me as a Protoss player to see Protoss with good unit composition, because at this level, I find what you'll see a lot of the time is you just get a 4-gate and then you get 80 million Stalker, and that's it. And like 2 Sentry and like a Zealot from the beginning of the match, and that's it. But what you don't realize as a Protoss player sometimes is you could have just a mixed bag and do far more with that mixed bag than you could ever do with a whole bunch of solitary Stalker. But I think that's about all I have to say about this. What about you?
Yeah, no, I thought Urban shit the bed.
I thought we were actually gonna go one full game without you saying that. But I guess I was wrong. We were almost there.
He had a really good start, really, really good fast roach. He actually could have won the game, but Kbizzle's micro proven that you don't need an arsenal of units. You only need 3 with proper micro.
Yep.
Kbizzle didn't play the best game either. I mean, he didn't put up his warps right away. He did do a good job at remaining calm. He brought out the probes when he needed to. He stayed alive. So on that part, I can't hate on him. The warps were a little iffy, and also supply blocking himself several times, also a little iffy. But came out of it, did some really, really good basic micro. We picked this game because I just want to show you guys that, microing certain units can win you a game. Period.
Exactly.
And I guess we'll just leave it at that, because we got lots of cast to do.
Oh, we've got lots of cast to do. So we're going to wrap it up right now, ladies and gentlemen. Please go to www.d2dgamer.com. Check us out on the forums. Have some fun with the community. Find yourself a practice partner and get to work. But for now, this has been Nova War.
And your boy, Maximus Black.
And we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Peace out.